Horses are a lot like us. They have fears just like we do. They remember things just like we do. They are creatures that are built on fear and love just like we are. Darkest moment was the night that I talked through with one of my close friends that killed himself, his wife. She was describing to me his attitude. She was describing to me how his suicide was affecting their life, and just hearing about everything that had happened afterwards. Because I think all he did was pass on the pain to somebody else to carry. That's all. I think in a part of me was like calling her to find out, okay, is my family going to be okay, when I shoot myself? Like, I just want to hear how they're going to be. And all I got from her was, I don't know how he could be so selfish and do that. And so it changed my thinking. I think I thought to myself, nobody's going to notice. Life will go on, and I won't have to think about the awful things in my head anymore. The noise will just stop. The noise stopping was just thinking about that now. There's a lot of good noises with bad noises as well. And not being able to hear my son laugh anymore. Not being able to see my wife smile at me when I come home. Just those things that you don't think about at the time. You just think about the bad things. Dealing with horses makes you control your anger and makes you really think about, like, why am I upset? Do I really need to be upset right now? When a horse goes and pulls away and it doesn't do what you want, like, do I really need to be mad at that? Do I really need to blow up? I don't think so. I think I saw my road ending or diverting to something worse, and they showed me a different way. I had to start letting stuff out of the pack, I had to start, okay, maybe I don't need this. Maybe I don't need that. Maybe I don't need to carry this with me every day. Life's too short. Have to let it go. And you have to start moving forward, because those that we left behind want us to move forward too. I think I felt like I was tapped out. Like I had expanded all of my traits that I could. I had done all the things that I thought I needed to do. And I was at this point of like, okay, what can I possibly learn next? Or what can I do to change my situation? And they showed me a new tool set of, hey, why don't we do this? Or why don't we go in this direction? I needed that. Go here. Start here. And that the program did that. It showed me a piece that I needed. That is something that I enjoy and has become my passion that will always be a part of me, no matter where I go and what I do. You could walk here to this program and walk on the first day and go, I've never seen a horse. I've never touched a horse. I barely know what they look like. And Simon and Yvette will coach you through it. And you will learn as you go as well. Horses have a funny way of teaching you what they want and what they don't want. So you learn pretty quick. I feel like I'm a new me. I think that I'm a different person, which is good. Change is good. This brought out a new person in me, a whole different human being. I never thought in my wildest dreams that I was going to be managing a barn, a ranch, 57 horses, and all the people, and I just never thought it was something that I was going to go and do. It seemed like something that was in the distant future, maybe someday, but not that quick. Grateful to be still living and breathing and living another day. It's always a blessing to wake up in the morning. I think that I have a bright future ahead of me. I think that I will always be surrounded by horses and cattle. I'm thankful for all those people that have stood beside me as I've walked through this valley and saw me to the other side. It can be all sunshine and rainbows if you choose to see it that way.
The biggest need at the moment is for skilled people to care for the horses. It was one of the crazy things that I found getting into the equine industry was how much people spend on a trainer for themselves taking riding lessons and a trainer for their horse, yet then the people they employ in their barns to take care of the horses don't have any kind of formal education, any real training except what they've learned from friends or family. We've seen the difference in what some extra knowledge can do, in these skills that you can learn in these 3 months that we teach them can make such a better connection and relationship between the veterans and the horses. And so when people hire our veterans, they know that they're getting somebody that, has compassion and empathy and an understanding of the horse's psychology instead of just kind of manhandling the horses into what they would need. So that translates into a happier, healthier horse that has a lot less problems and really allows that connection better with their owners. The veterans in our program, are able to go into these jobs where they're barn managers or grooms caring for people's horses, whether it's at boarding stables, breeding facilities, or being an assistant to a veterinarian or a farrier or any body workers. Any of those kinds of professionals in the industry need competent, skilled people that can care for the horses in a non-violent, non-coercive way. For us, that's a really big difference, is making sure that they're caring for the horses in a kind way.
I've been in all aspects of the horse industry, and probably the biggest issue is qualified people to take care of the horses, to work at the farms. There's a real need for it everywhere. Some ranches, they use them as utility animals for working cattle or things like that, but generally these animals nowadays, most everybody's horse is their pet. This program gives them an opportunity to hire somebody that has the skills to see things before they become a real problem. Generally, you hire somebody and you have to train them on the job. And at least with this program, you're getting somebody that's ready to go day one. They've already been through a number of experiences that gives them skills, and this is just another way to hone their skills into something that provides them a whole different aspect of life.
Growing up in Africa, the conflict that's happened there over the decades that both Simon and I have been alive, it's such an amazing thing to be able to provide this safe environment where people can be their authentic selves. It's not just physical safety, it's emotional safety, spiritual safety. There's so much that goes into us feeling safe and secure. So if we can provide that to veterans that have been through so much, just giving them that little glimmer of hope that there is a future, that there is something beyond this, makes all the difference.
The curriculum that we follow has been running for 25 years already. It is called Groom Elite, and it was developed by a collaboration of racehorse owners that were wanting to find a way to get happier, healthier, winning horses.
I've been a psychologist for nearly 50 years, and I found this is the most powerful work I've ever done. When I sit in an office with people and hear their stories, I don't know sometimes what to say, sometimes I don't know what's the truth, but when I get them in an arena with a horse, the truth comes out, and there's an authentic kind of presence that calms us and allows us to work together. Being present, being mindful is so incredibly important to healing, and horses allow us to do that. And so for me, this is really my life's work, and I've been here for a long time, and I continue to do this work as long as I can because it's so powerful. Well, the polyvagal theory is about regulating the nervous system. And we find when people have been traumatized, when they get stuck in their fear, they don't feel safe, they are not able to regulate their nervous system. They get stuck in what we call fight, flight, freeze, and sometimes appease, where they become, we call it the Stockholm Syndrome, and they're not able to move back into that state of homeostasis or quiet. And the horses allow the nervous system to come back to that normal state as well and calm that vagus nerve that allows them to move into that parasympathetic state of being. I found over many, many years of working with horses that they give you that presence. They allow us to move into their quiet energy field. They're intimidating to some point so that they kind of make you step back. And it's wonderful for people who are highly defended and anxious and worried. When they step into that energy field, they feel a sense of calm and they let down their defenses as well.
It's one of those things that where people have experienced trauma, they tend to just shut down and they don't want to try new things. They don't want to have any experiences because they feel like they might not be good experiences. Just to get them here and get them to try something new is a big step. But then once they do, they just realize that the horses provide this amazing bubble of security and safety. They're these huge, powerful animals that welcome you in when you can speak the same language as them, when you understand their herd dynamics. And we see that difference. It's so funny to watch the traditional horse people come and try to work with our horses, and they react differently to the veterans that have only had a few weeks or months of training, because the veterans understand the horses better. They understand that connection with them, and they're able to work with them in this way that is so often not seen in the industry.
The horses have this incredible energy that radiates from their horse for their heart. And as humans, when we get into that energy field, we can be calm and go into their calm state. Finding that intersection between the human and the horse heart is incredibly soothing and relaxing.
So moving to America and working in the equine industry, we discovered not only how hard it is to get reliable staff to care for horses and how many veterans there are out there that have just lost their sense of purpose. And Simon and I both know what that feels like, and to have then discovered horses and seen how you can have this complete shift in what you do with your life gave us that inspiration to use our skills and talents to help other people achieve what we've had and have that fulfilling career. We chose to pair the veterans with retired racehorses in the program because we see a lot of similarities between them. They're both trained for these elite careers where they have one job and they need to do it to the best of their ability, but when they're injured or they age out, they're just cast aside. It just gives them that extra sense of purpose that they're helping these animals that have been through a lot of the same things. Horses have a very big emotional system, and so they develop PTSD and a lot of other issues that the veterans themselves have. So pairing the two together really helps with their healing journey as well as their knowledge and abilities.
This program allows them to find new inspiration, find a new zest in life. It allows them to communicate with equines that often help them with barriers that they're trying to break down. A lot of these veterans have PTSD and anxiety and a lot of trauma from what they have been exposed to. And these programs allow the veterans to work with horses where they are. The horse meets them where they need to be met, and vice versa. The veterans have to meet the horses where they need to be met.
Right now, best years of my life. I'm retired. I have the freedom to do what I want to do. These horses call me to this ranch daily. Very worst time of my life was in February of 2009. I went on a 4+ day binge of crack cocaine. I died on my bedroom floor. By the grace of God and by my friend / dealer who didn't leave me hanging, he could have walked out that door. Nobody in that town would ever put us two together. The therapy that I get every day with these horses, and being able to just be around them, and it's an eye-opening experience, but you have to spend time. You just can't walk up to a horse. And so I've learned to be a better me. I've been told that I'm a better me, that I'm a better person. I don't have a lot of baggage I used to have. I don't have a lot of the anger that I used to have. All of that is gone. As soon as I get off the highway to come to this ranch, I start feeling peace, and it doesn't ever leave while I'm on this ranch. There's just a peace here. There is no hurry. The only hurry is an emergency. We don't have those here. Go and spend our day and do whatever training we need to do, and it's all because they want to. Nothing ever is forced here. There's no yelling or screaming or hurting or anything. It's a good feeling to me to know that I had a part in giving these horses a new life. And so far, they've adopted every horse that was here when they first opened. So they're teaching me how to trust that it's okay to feel okay. It's okay to feel safe. And I learned about me in the meantime, I trust Simon and Yvette. I trust their training. They don't have to be here. They could go back to South Africa and just do whatever they want to do. This isn't a job for them. They fell in love with American veterans because they were exposed to it at another ranch, and that's what made them want to do this program longer. All three of the classes I went to at the other ranch, my critique was it wasn't long enough. Because by the third day, you're starting to connect with a horse and revealing things, and then we're done. And so when they told me that they were going to do a 10-week class, I couldn't sign up fast enough. 40 years worth of constant training, and we are undoing that day by day. The more I come here, the more I learn how to be a better me. And whatever you're feeling and whatever you're dealing with, that horse is gonna, in whatever way it does, gonna bring it to your attention. So you have to really be there. You have to be present. You can't be thinking about this, that, and the other, because that horse is desiring your attention. It just wants to be with you. Come here and forget all you know about horses. Forget that you know anything about horses, and just try to be present here. That's the hardest thing. I see a lot of people could not stay here for a long period is because they still want to hang on to their baggage. They weren't willing to just go, okay, what can I learn out of this today, being present today? But once somebody does that, you open your eyes to all the learning that you can do because you're just available to it. Because I had horses growing up from age 3 to 18. But when I went to the ranch for training, to go through their seminar, I just pretended like I didn't know anything. Because I did know the old Western cowboy way, that you beat a horse into submission and they fear you. And that was just the way we were raised. That's what we were taught to do. But that isn't the only way. One thing these horses have to learn when they get here is all they're used to doing is having the reins pulled into their mouth as hard as it can, and they're just supposed to run, and they're going to get hit with this thing on their back, or they're going to get kicked in their sides to run as fast as they can. That's all they know. And they come here and they're like, well, where am I supposed to run? No, we don't run here. We don't have to run here. So we have to teach them to be okay with not performing and just being a horse. And then we slowly integrate them into becoming a trail horse so that we can get them adopted out and have a new forever home and allow somebody to have a thoroughbred, prior racehorse, retired racehorse as their trail horse. You can't get any better than that. I can't not be here now. It's just, there's something about them, something about this space, this ranch. They just have a way of communicating, and they will do the way I was trained to teach, is they will tell you over and over and over again, the same tone of voice. They don't get frustrated. They're just like, oh, remember this, Remember that? So you're not like feeling like you're beat up at the end of the day that I didn't do something right. And it's like, no, look at all the good things you did do. And we'll work on that next time, but look at all these other things. So they just have a knack about it, and they love us, and I'm just grateful to be a part of this.
I've fallen into the bubble, so to speak, depression, addiction, alcoholism. I've battled with all of it at some point and stage in my life. Even the biggest one that was driving all of those was the mental and emotional isolation that I put myself in. That's a hard one to break. That's a really hard one to break. None of that matters. None of that's important anymore. You can walk in the stall with a horse or put a horse in your hands, and if you're not in the moment, he's gonna tell you. He's gonna make you get in the moment and be present. Most of my life, I was always worried about providing and giving my family the best life that I could. I guess the fear was to not fill those shoes. So I pushed myself to make sure that I did. And I left zero time for me to take care of myself. So I was constantly worrying about everybody else and trying to give, my daughter and my partner, wife, all these material things, lavish vacations and nice houses and cars and this and that and whatever. Really all they wanted for me was to be home and be present. And my fear was not being that person for my family, not being what they needed from me. It keeps me from going down these long time spans of just work, stress. I come out here and I'm able to slow down and clear my head, kind of recenter with that repetition of being in, being a part of this program and around the horses consistently. And that's really helped me stay focused, centered and focused. Keep an eye on, my depression or my insomnia, any, the little demons that like to come back and get you when you're least expecting it, It's helping me to learn how to actually think about the current moment that I'm in and what I'm doing, and not be occupied mentally about something else, and just be physically present but mentally unavailable. With that interaction, it constantly reminds me that, all right, when I'm sitting there with my family, that I need to be engaged and active with them about now and not thinking about something else up here. You can walk up to these horses, they'll walk up to you and they'll pick you. You start interacting with them, and then they start interacting with you back, and it's all nonverbal. They'll nudge you around, or you literally can give them a hug, and you can feel just everything start draining from you. It's the weirdest thing ever, and it's awesome to feel it and experience it. There's a bunch of science behind it. They say that the horses are able to synchronize. They'll synchronize with us or force us to synchronize with them and bring us down a notch and help us settle and things to that effect. It's definitely special being around the horses and working with them, seeing other veterans, at their place in their journey, to walk in and get to see them get their first experience. That makes it worth it, to see those changes happening and all the veterans that are coming behind me. We spent a lot of time getting this thing up and running and getting it off the ground, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Just seeing these new folks come in, and it's helping them turn their lives around. They're having a second chance at connecting with their children, or reconnecting with their spouses, learning how to that they can live life out of the fight mode and actually live life to love it and stop just living life to fight. This program really helps veterans. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in several other veterans and the way that it's brought them back to a normal lifestyle and that it's helped them get past their issues. It's been worth the gamble to put this thing together to benefit all these other veterans. In August of 22, I did try to take my life twice. I found this program after that. That was a stepping stone to get me to this point. And as dark as it may be, it was what the plan was to get me here, to help to get this program off the ground. And who knows how much we're really changing other people's lives. We see some of it here, but how far does that really expand into things, still old habits might rear their head every once in a while, but for 90% of the things, I'm a lot better place. Family's a lot happier. We're a lot closer with each other, more open in communication, and definitely more in tune with everybody. This keeps me humble in the fact that I know that I have to take care of myself so that I don't end up right back into the position that we see a lot of veterans come to us in. A lot of them are at a turning point in their life where I was at. They're needing to find a different career path, or they're going through their second or third divorce, or they're battling with some sort of addiction issues, or whatever the case may be. It helps keep me focused and grateful and humble that I'm where I'm at, and steer these other veterans where they're trying to get to in life. I know we're not a therapy program, but the indirect benefits of being around the horses really help bring my treatment whole. Sure, I've got the medication aspect that we've found and we've managed, and I've done the prescribed different types of therapies, but this is outside of all of that, and it ties all that back together, and it's actually forced me to practice the things that were in the therapy with the horse. Look, it's like the same interaction types and behavior types. I hear a lot of veterans like, I've done all the medicines, I've done this therapy and that therapy, and nothing works. If you think nothing else has worked, give this a try. No matter what, you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna enjoy it. It's great to be around the horses and other veterans, and it can definitely help change your life for the better. And I'm grateful to still be sitting here today.
The human really has to work hard at bringing their heart rate down, bringing their adrenaline down, and just softening everything within their body in order to gain cooperation from the horse. And so to see these two highly strung individuals trying to figure things out is really impressive. To watch the transformation of the veteran as well as the horses that they are looking after is incredible. And you can see this after days, literally after days. And they're thinking about what their next interaction is going to be with a horse.
I think for me, it's been that incredible journey of seeing how much horses helped both Simon and myself personally and in our marriage, wanting to pass that on to other people. Being African, we have this giving nature of wanting to share what you have. That's a big part of it, is knowing how much horses can help and heal, but also that it's something that can actually be a fulfilling career was something that we wanted to share with others.
It is really life-changing. Mentally, physically, they're the type of people that are looking to improve their life, and they're going to continue to get better at it as they gain more experience. There's a real need for people that are qualified in this program. It gives them some insurance that they've been taught the right things.
Placing our veterans with smaller operations that are not only going to provide a stable income, but housing opportunities too. And we all know that in today's climate, there is a lot of homelessness, there are a lot of veterans that are at risk.
And the beautiful thing about this kind of therapy is that you don't have to tell your story. And very often when you're traumatized, you tell your story, you're re-traumatized. But you get out with the horses and you're allowed to use your body. Your trauma is stored in your body, and the horses allow you to regulate that. And this particular program that we're dealing with here is so unique. I think it's unlike anyone I've ever known about. Not only are the veterans and the first responders learning about themselves and healing from their trauma, they're learning about horsemanship, and they're training for particular jobs, so it's a vocational training program, and it's rehabbing horses as well and giving them homes. So it's a beautiful intersection of all these pieces that many programs have one or two parts, but this one has the whole thing. It's quite unique, actually.
Well, there's no such thing as natural horsemanship. There's nothing natural about doing anything to a horse. It's a wild animal. But if we had to try and work in order to be able to get the horse to do things that we're needing it to do, well, we have to kind of step over onto their side and start thinking the way they're thinking in order to be able to kind of program that horse to get it to where we want to be. The term natural horsemanship, basically it's telling us to do things in a nice, kind, gentle manner without violence, without coercion. It's using the horse's natural communication as well as herd dynamics, kind of getting a grasp on that and using that to our advantage whilst communicating with the horses.
Horses allow you to be honest, authentic, and congruent. And if you're not, if you're dysregulated and out of sync, they'll tell you right away. And you can't approach them. They're going to give you feedback. They act as mirrors to your own behavior so that you're able to regulate how you respond. And then when you are in sync, authentic, congruent, the horses will come to you, they will blow their nose, and they'll calm down and give you that kind of feedback that, okay, you're trustworthy, I can be with you.
I think quality of life is a really big one. We see that when they first start out, there's a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of PTS. One of the most common things that I've heard the veterans say is, wow, it's only been 2 days, but I'm already feeling a lot better. I'm excited to wake up in the mornings and come out and do the program. They really see these huge improvements that would be tracked as improvements in their mental health, whether it's PTS, anxiety, depression, all of the above. Working with the horses in this kind of therapeutic environment, it's tranquil in this beautiful space with these majestic animals, just allows them to reset and refine their purpose. But they don't feel like it's forced therapy. It's something that they're able to attain for themselves through the vocational work.
They're getting the skills because they want them. They're very interested in learning and developing their skills even more. From a veterinary standpoint, it's great to have somebody there when you go to work at a farm that is qualified and that can help you out and give you some information and tell you some things, tell you what their temperature is, and be able to treat and do the aftercare. So the biggest issue with treatment failure that I find is compliance. And these people know how to put a plan together and put it into play so that it gets taken care of the right way.
They really appreciate their job. They value the horses that they're working with. They see them as sentient beings. So they really, their employers notice that they take that extra care, that, you know, they're really focused on the horse and the horse's needs rather than just mindlessly following those tasks every day, which, you know, can often happen when somebody's doing a repetitive job. You can see a noticeable change from day to day. It's not just something, you know, that takes time, that you don't realize. You'll have these big aha moments that they experience where you can see that real positive change. They come in the morning and they're excited to get up and they're excited to be at the barn early and work with the horses.
Thoughts are just spinning around in your head, and they're thoughts. And when you can get into your body, and this work is about sensation, not feelings necessarily, but sensations and how your body is processing. And that's what we're meant to do. So the horses bring us back into our natural state without words. This is an important program. I've known Simon and Yvette for many years, and I've watched them work. And this is really special, what they're doing.
People can earn a living wage working in the equine industry, but it's so rewarding as well.
There's a dire need for qualified people are problem solvers, and veterans are problem solvers. So they come into these jobs with these skills, and now they're somebody that you can trust. They're somebody that you can rely on. I think that's the biggest thing. You know, when you have a horse facility, you know, you're tied to it. Whereas if you can hire somebody like this, you can leave once in a while.
We can see that our horse adoption program is going to continue to expand, and with the continuous enrollment, we'll be able to help even more veterans each year. And then we're also looking at expanding out our behavioral wellness programs to help more veterans, first responders, and other at-risk groups.
You can't demand something from a horse. It's all about the way that you're asking. It's all about the ask. And so it's very interesting to watch how the veterans have to kind of take a step back, take a deep breath, regulate themselves, get control of their emotions in order to be able to work with these horses. If they're not self-regulating, and if they're not regulated when they're interacting with horses, it's very clear from an outside perspective, witnessing the uncomfort of the horse due to the elevation of adrenaline and heart rate from the veteran. This is one of the big things that we start teaching from ground zero, is how to self-regulate, how to diaphragmatically breathe, how to take control of your emotions, and how to let it all go and to be present in the moment with the horse. The horse expects you to be present with it, and so you should be. The horse only lives in the present. It doesn't think about yesterday. It doesn't think about what's going to happen tomorrow. It's thinking about now.
I'm most grateful for the opportunities that, you know, I've had in my life, and that's what drives me every day to help others achieve what I have. It's, you know, there's that American dream, and 5 years ago I never thought I'd be waking up on California's Central Coast every day, living in this beautiful, secure environment, so far removed from rural Africa, and all those things that go along with it. And so, you know, that's why we identify in a lot of ways with the veterans we work with, because we've seen a veritable war zone. We know what it's like to, you know, live in that environment where it's not safe and things aren't okay. And we've lived through traumas, and so having the horses help us, you know, and then being able to have the support that we do to share our passion with others is, you know, such an amazing thing that we've been blessed with. So it truly is a blessing to wake up in this beautiful country every day, surrounded by people that are so giving. I've not met a more generous population, and I've traveled the world, and I have to say Americans, and especially the ones on the Central Coast, just have the biggest hearts and are just the most amazing people. So we really feel blessed to have been, you know, indoctrinated into all the wonderful things that America has to offer.